I think I am streaming. Let's also record for good measure. Let's check. How do I get the link? .com. There we go. I'm going to copy the link. I'm going to put it to Discord. Event details, edit event, location, done, done, done. That's it. And now tag everyone. And not in announcements, actually. Announcements. I'm going to copy this whole thing. Announcements. Send now to everyone. Great. How do I see my comments? The comments are here. Abel, what's up? Good to see you here. Abel, how do I see my comments in OBS? I had this window at one point, but now I don't see it. Yeah, and I have to set up TikTok as well. So let me just... Bashir Hamza, welcome. Welcome to the live stream. Okay, if I refresh, it's gonna be here. How do you put the volume down? How do you put the volume down? No, with your PC.
And then here. You push it all the way?
Yeah, maximum, yeah. Okay. Then I'm gonna full stream this.
Oh my god, Inception.
And then go live. I am good. I'm happy that you're here too, Hamza. I'm currently cross-streaming this to TikTok as well, so I'm just setting this up right now. We should be live in a moment on TikTok. Yes, we are. Great. Great. Yeah, great. Okay. Hello, Rishab. I'm sorry, I'm pronouncing your name wrong. Jain. I'm good, man. How are you? Currently live streaming. This is the first live stream ever. We're gonna build an app from scratch with React and Next.js. I'm super excited. I just have to figure out how do I get the comments from my YouTube stream. The stream will be, I set it for like 2 hours, but it can be less or it can be more if I get really into it. Obviously, this whole app is going to take like a long time to build, right? It's not going to be done in this whole stream, but I plan to make multiple streams, kind of thinking about it once a week for now. And I'm going to talk about the app in just a moment, just while I set this up. You know what? Worst case, what I can do, I can just make this a new window, make this super small, see all of the comments here, and put this maybe here. So I see your comments. Great. This will do for now. It's a little bit ghetto, but this will do. So I see your comments on YouTube. I see your comments on TikTok, and we should be good to go. Cool. So about the app, what we are going to be building today is going to be a weather app. So we're going to build a weather app. And the reason why I chose a weather app for this is that I wanted to build an app that would be easy to kind of build without a backend. We can learn all of the things that are required in the front end using Next.js, using React, using all of the best practices without having to worry about a backend. However, we will still have to use an API, a public API, which is a great resource to learn and to know how to use. And just generally weather. I like weather in general. I'm like a weather nerd. So like building a weather app makes a lot of sense. Disclaimer, I haven't used Next.js too much. I have used it. I have built a few small apps with it, but I haven't used it extensively. So we are going to be learning about Next.js kind of together, if you will. And also what we're going to be doing is not in this stream. I'm going to wait for a little bit, but I will open source this application so that you can contribute no matter your skill level. And the whole point of this is that you can watch me build it in the live streams and we can build it together, and then you can contribute to it if you want. I'm going to set it up so that it's easy to contribute no matter your skill level. And then you can get some real life, real hands-on experience building an actual real project, right? That's kind of the whole purpose of this. And I will be sort of managing this whole thing and kind of guiding you along the way. So if you're learning React, this is going to be a great opportunity to do that and to get some real great hands-on experience. Who do we have on TikTok? Wesley, yo, what's up? What's up? How's it going, Wesley? So you're on TikTok. Nice, nice, nice. Yes, you can pop up your YouTube chat via the YouTube dashboard. Honestly, I got it running for now. It's a bit like I have like this extra window on my browser and I just have the chat here so I can see it. It'll do for now. But yeah, let's get to it, right? So let's start building an app with Next.js. So what I'm going to do is I'm literally going to go to Next.js tutorial, or even like create a Next.js app, right? And let me just zoom this up a little bit so that you guys can see. Let me maybe adjust this because this is a bit too big. There you go. There you go. I hope that, let me know if the size of the screen, if it's big enough, if you can see it, if it's too small. I do have a big monitor, so there could be that. So how do you build an app with Next.js? Are we, first of all, on the most up-to-date, right? I just want to see Next.js start an app, right? Like setup. That's what we want to do. Cool. Actually, Next.js with TypeScript and Tailwind. So we're going to be using Tailwind for this. We're going to be using the things that you all know and love. And I'm just looking for like the Next.js. I know they have a command for that, right? It should be like create a Next.js setup. Okay. Create next app at latest, Next.js blog, use npm. How do I do TypeScript? If I search here, Command K. Does the search not work? Seriously, does the search not work? Like, what is this? Okay, let's just go to Next.js. There you go. Get started. There you go. And then installation, npx create next app at latest. That's what we want. I don't want the manual installation. Okay, it's going to give you all of the options in the command line. Fair enough. So what we want to do is we want to open up a terminal here, and you need to be on Next 13. Yes, we're definitely going to be doing Next 13. However, we're not going to be doing the new app structure, the server components. Reason being is they're not 100% stable right now, even though they are like rated to go for production. They're not like within the community and kind of the direction that they're going in. They're still not ready yet to like build out a full-fledged application with that. So I will start using the kind of old, if you will, pages directory. And then eventually as a task, we will migrate to the new app directory. And so this way you get to learn how to use Next.js kind of as it is now. And you also get to learn Next.js as it will be in the future. So cd documents, cause and solutions, ls, I'm going to go into cd projects, ls, and then I want to run the command, which is npx create at latest. Cool. So we want to install this. Great. We are going to call this, we are building a weather app for those that just joined. So we'll do better weather. This will be our working name as we're working on this project. And then, I already had a directory called better weather because I did attempt to do something with this. So let's try again. Better weather. I want to use TypeScript, of course. I want to use ESLint. I want to use Tailwind. I want to use the SRC. And then, use the app router. I will go no for now, and we will update this later on. Would you like to customize the default import alias? No, I'm fine with the default. Great, it's now currently installing. We are good to go. Leaving work as a dev, riding my bike home and see your stream, doing more code. Ha ha ha. Good, man. This is a great opportunity to learn. So I'm glad that you're here. Eric Su Coffee, hello from Africa. Hello back, man. Glad to have you here. Welcome. Yeah, nice. How many viewers are we on TikTok? Does it say? 8 viewers. Perfect. That's what we had the last time we did the stream. Interesting. Just to be clear, I'm pretty sure the new app directory is now default. Let's check this out. If I use the app directory, do I have to use like server components? Because I don't want to use server components by default. That's not what I want right now. So is that by default, all of the components created inside of the app directory are React server components, right? I don't want this like at this very moment. I want to migrate to this later on, right? Like do an incremental kind of migration. That's my whole point. Because I don't want to build this whole app on server components and then have to kind of work with them when they're not like 100% stable in that, like all of there's things that are still like unanswered with server components. So I will go with pages for now. And then you can easily migrate from pages to the new server components. So that should be fine. Aha, server components are default. Yeah, so yeah. I got it here. Fair enough. Interesting. You have to go back to next 12. But wait, no, because I did just build an app, right? I did just, how do I check? What's my version number? Because I just did at latest, right? npm next version, that's what I want. npm next version. So we'll do this and we'll go cd better. Right, so I'm at 13 Next.js, right? And then if I open up the folder that we just created, right? So we'll go to cause and solutions, projects, better weather. Right, we're using pages. It's fine. Like you don't need to use necessarily. You can still use the pages directory, and then you can incrementally migrate to that. And I'm on the latest Next.js, so I think that's fine. What I will do, I will create a workspace, save workspace as, call it better weather, and that will be in this folder here. Sure, because I want to add some settings to my workspace. First of all, zoom. I'll make this bigger for you guys. We'll do 3. I think 3 is fine. Let me know if it's too small. Here's like a page for kind of comparison. I think this is good enough. What's up, Bogdan? Good to see you here, man. Let him cook. Yes, let me cook. What's the difference between Next.js and just React? So Next.js is built on top of React, and it's essentially a way to kind of build more web-friendly applications with React, right? React is just like the library that like you write the React code in and you build the components and whatnot. But Next.js has a lot of like features built in, like server-side rendering. It handles routing for you. It handles even like the deployment super easy for you. And it's generally like, if you were to do this with just React, you would have to implement all of those things on your own, which, you know, takes a lot of time. And why go that route when you can go with Next.js and they have a lot of these things pre-built already if you're looking to build a web application? It makes sense, right? Cool. So now what I want to do is we have our code, right? So I'll do npm run dev, and then we should have a server on localhost port 3000. Let's check it out. Localhost port 3000. There we go. We are now officially in Next.js. Cool. So the first thing that I want to do is I want to start small. I want to kind of think about this application and yeah, bump up the font size. Sure, I'll do that. Let's do that. Let's do that as well. I have to find like the balance between what you guys can see and what I can work with. Just generally. So I think 4 is fine. I think this is good enough for you. Yeah. So let's get rid of all of these things because we don't need them. We'll just leave main here. We'll even delete this class name, and then we'll put hello from Next.js. I'm going to get rid of this font here because we don't need the font. We don't need all of this. And then we have hello from Next.js. Great. So that's the first step in our application. Then what I want to do is I want to set up some like ESLint rules that are going to be useful in this project, mainly like sorting imports and figuring out like just some general rules of the application. And I believe it's lint simple sort import. Do I really have to? Oh man, I have to like every window zoom it in manually. Okay. So can I set the zoom for my browser? Okay, there's no way to do this. That's unfortunate. So where is it? Where's the installation? npm install save dev sort simple sort import. So we're going to do this, stop this, and then install. Good. I'm glad you find it better, Bogdan. Nice. Just joined. What project do you want to build with Next.js, bro? We're building a weather app. So we're going to build a weather app. It has the benefits that it has no backend, so it's easy for us to build the entire front end, and we will have to use API requests, which are really useful. So we can use these API requests without having to build a backend, right? So that's kind of the goal. So we installed now the simple sort import, and then we should add it to our ESLint like so. So we'll go ESLint. I believe. Is it like this? No, it's not. It's like this. Plugins, and then we want to add our rules. Rules, simple sort import, fine. And then actually what I want to do, I want to open, what was it? Where did I do this? I think it's in code, yes. Sorry, I'll go new window so that you can see. File, open recent, where is it? Code. I'm basically going to get the configuration that I had in my previous app, just because it's easier. And then yes, we need so TypeScript at ESLint. Actually, I'm just going to copy this whole thing. Great. So essentially, just to kind of walk you through, actually I will walk you through in a second. I just need to install this sort keys. So we're also going to automatically sort our keys in our objects. It's just usually cleaner to do it that way. So npm install this. Go to our, where is it? VS Code here. npm install. That's done. And then I think that's it. Cool. So basically this is our ESLint, right? This is what configures our linter. This is not the formatter. This will just set up some rules for our linter, like sorting imports and having things in a certain order and whatnot. The only plugins that I used is this one called simple sort import, which you can, if you go on Google on npm, you can find it. It'll make sure that your imports are always sorted properly, which is what you want in an application. And then we have this sort keys fix, which will essentially allow you to have ESLint errors when your keys in your objects are not sorted properly. I usually like to have this in application, and makes things a little bit easier to read. And when you have like big objects with a lot of properties, having them sorted helps you find things easier. And here I just set up the rules for that. Again, I just copied this from another project, so don't worry too much about it. This will be in the repo once I make this open source, so feel free to go ahead and look at that. And essentially here, I've just configured the different groups. We're going to group our imports into related things. So essentially what we're going to do is we're going to put all of these like React and kind of third-party libraries as a first group. at the top, and then we are going to do internal packages, and then here any side effect imports. And again, we might change this as we're working on the project, just because our needs might be different, right? It's on a per project basis, but generally this is like the basics that I want to have. And then I'm only applying this to TS files and TSX because we are working with TypeScript. Cool. So we have ESLint. So now if I do import, what can I import? Hello. How do I import handler? Import handler from API hello. Will it give me an error that it's not used? It won't. Why? Why? No unused variables. It's set to warn, but it's not warning me. Anyways, we can deal with this later on. Cool. So now, does our app work? If I go to my browser, does our app work? Ah, right. It's not running. Cool. What's your GitHub handle where you handle these projects? So it's going to be @CausenSolutions, but currently at this moment, this app is not, this code is not actually public. So when it is public, it's going to be published under CausenSolutions at Better Weather. That's what we're going to be calling this. Cool. So we have our website running now. So what I want to do is I want to first maybe set up kind of some layout, some architecture, I guess, of the UI design, right? Like just how things will look. I want to have maybe like a nav bar here, maybe, or maybe not, but we can start with just a nav bar. But the thing is, I want to figure out like, how do you do this with Next.js, right? So this is the app component. This is the, right. So it's importing main from here, right? And then next script. What is this next script? Next.js next script. Script optimization. What is this? No, that's not what I want. At all. No. What if I do in quotes so it gives me exactly that? Main and next script. What does this do? So it's a document, get initial props. Next script. Okay, there you go. Get dynamic chunks, dynamic imports, this context document props. I'm just going to leave it because it comes pre-built with Next.js, so it's fine. And then let's go Next.js layout, routing, pages, and layout. Yes. So the pages router has a file system based router built on the concept of pages. That's what we want. When a file is added to the pages directory, it's automatically available as a root. Yes. In Next.js, a page is a React component exported from a JSX file in the pages directory. Each page is associated with a root based on its file name. Example, if you create pages/about.js that exports a React component like below, it will be accessible at /about. Great. So that's what we want. But what I want is the actual like layout. I want to have like a nav bar. There you go, nav bar. So do they create their own navbar component? Is that what they do? There's this like underscore app thing here. So let's see what happens if I do this, right? Again, we are kind of figuring out Next.js together. So we'll just do div test. And then what do we have here? Oh, we have test. Okay. If I inspect this, we get test there. Okay. So this app is the kind of, oh, right. Can you like have like a separate kind of underscore app file for every single page if you wanted to? Is that like how you do it? And then you would obviously customize everything, right? Let's see. What if I add a new folder and we'll do test. And then inside of test, we'll do index.tsx. And I'll export test props, and then I'll do test div. And then if I go to now /test, we should see test, and we still get our initial test from above, right? So let me just make this easier. Test from root, right? But now, what if I add app.tsx, and then what if I just add another test? Export default function app. What will happen? No, that's not how it works. Interesting. There will be only one app file. Okay, fair enough. So then how do you like make a layout for each kind of each page, right? Because I know in the new app directory, you can have a layout and you can apply this to every single page on a page by page basis. And it's like, it's nested, right? So like the layout that you have from the parent will still apply, but you can override or like add to it from the child. How do you do this with like the pages directory? What's kind of the, right? It should be in the documentation. Per page layouts, that's what you want. That's what I want. If you need multiple layouts, you can add the property get layout. Oh, interesting. Okay. Right? This allows you to define a layout on a per page basis. Since we're returning a function, we can have complex nested layouts if desired. That is what we want. And then, yeah, okay. And you get TypeScript as well here. So let's just test it out. Let's see what happens. So we can kill this underscore app that we built in our test, and then we can go to our index in our test, export here, test.getLayout, and then it's going to be a React element, import from components dot right, we don't have that. So div, and then let's see what happens here. Still no. Do I have to like export this? And I believe you created the, yeah, I did. I probably did, eh? Yeah, I did in the wrong directory. It is what it is. But like I do test.getLayout, right? Which is what this is saying. So you have your page, right? And then page.getLayout is a function that returns a layout, whatever. We don't have these components. That's fine, unless, is it? Is it? Honestly, I don't need a layout right now. We can figure this out later. I'm not down to deal with this right now. So I'll just delete all of this. We'll just use the main API app one for now. And then when we actually need a layout, we'll spend the time to like figure it out. So what I want to do is I want to create a new folder. And this one, I'm going to call it, page components. And this one, I'm going to create a new folder called navbar. And then inside of here, we'll create a new file, navbar.tsx. And actually, I'm going to rename this. Oh man, how do I rename? Really? Navbar, right. So the reason I made a page components is we're gonna have another folder for components, and that's gonna be our like base components, the main building blocks of our application. So things like buttons, inputs, and whatnot. And then we're gonna have page components, which is going to be components that are slightly bigger, that are reused across pages, and that will be built out of multiple UI components, right? So we kind of want to have a separation of components. Actually, you know what? I think a better solution is do components, and then inside of here do what can we call? No, I'll just leave it for now. We can change it later if we need to. Basically, what I want is I want a distinction between UI components that are like the raw building blocks of our application, and these bigger components that are made up of them that are then also reused across applications. I've found that if you put everything in one components folder, it tends to be a little bit confusing. And there really is like a distinction between the different kind of components. So, hello everyone, DA, hello. Nice to see you here. What's on TikTok? Anything on app is rendered throughout the entire application. Yes, you are absolutely right. And add a layout.tsx, and in that have nav component. Add layout.tsx, and in that have nav component. So where would I add the layout.tsx? Like inside of a specific file? Like how would I get it for like a specific file? Anyways, let's now build our navbar, which is going to be the super simplest navbar you're ever going to see. So RGS this, and then navbar props. And for now, there's going to be no props. We're just going to do a div, and then we are going to make another div for our logo essentially, and that's going to be better weather. And then I think that's it for now. Again, really, really simple. So I'll do nav bar here. And then, yes, I want to set up actually in the workspace settings. I want to set up, what did I do in my other code? I have this and I have workspace settings. How do I, so I'll do copy this over. Where is it? So it's in the settings, under settings, sure. So I'll copy this. Basically just setting some default, the tab size and the default formatter on TypeScript, React, and TypeScript. And this should be aligned like this, like that, great. And then I also want editor format on save. That is going to be true. We're going to put this at the top level, actually below the zoom. And then we want editor code actions on save, fix all ESLint. What this is going to do is every time I save, it is going to fix the issues with ESLint. Theoretically, it will. I'm not getting any errors on all of the lint things that I applied, right? So we have all of these rules here, right? Overrides, right? And then if I go to package.json, we have all of them installed. We have these here. So do we have a command for lint? npm, right. So let's do npm run lint and see what happens. Failed to load plugin. Aha. Right. We had to install this. Fair enough. So I'll go install. Yeah, we needed one more little thing. Fair enough. Create a file inside components called layout, and you can then render any global things in there, like nav, and when use the component layout, put any page. Oh, right. Yeah, okay. Fair enough. But that's like doing it the manual way, right? That's like creating your own component and then reusing it everywhere. I just wanted to see if there's a way that Next.js allows you to do it like natively, right? Because usually that's a better option. But yeah, definitely we can just create our own component and use it manually ourselves, wrap our entire content with it. We're not going to do that now because I'm pretty sure that there is a way to do it with Next.js directly, as we've seen. I'm just not going to bother with it now. It doesn't make sense to do it quite right now. So I'm going to install all of these. And then once we have these installed, if I run lint again, it should work. There we go. So we got some errors. Now if I close this, why do we not have errors in our code? Like this should have errors. ESLint. Why? Right? So like we do lint, right? We're doing npm run lint. And then we're getting that the imports are not ordered correctly, which is exactly what we want. We want to get these errors. But in my VS Code, right? Which file was it? It was pages underscore app.tsx. This is the one, pages underscore app.tsx. I'm not getting the actual ESLint things here. It should like be like, everything should be like in a red underline, and if I press save, it should automatically fix them. That's like what I want, right? Let me see. Our old Google friend having all of the answers. Actually, I might ask ChatGPT for this. It might be a better answer. Did you run npm install? I did. Do you have a lint? I do. Do we have the correct? Yeah, we do have the correct file extensions, right? What am I building? I'm building a weather app using React and Next.js. It's going to be super exciting. We're going to do this over a longer period of time, of streams. So I'm really looking forward to it. Do you need to set it up as the default linter? I can see prettier in the down right corner. I don't think so, man. Like, look, this is another code that I have, right? And again, this is my cause and solutions thing. You see the imports here, it's telling me that like run autofix to fix these imports. I press save, done. It auto formats them, it puts the gap, it groups them correctly, right? I do the same thing here. I put a space or whatever. These are anyways already in the wrong order and nothing happens, which is like strange because I literally copied the same configuration file from the previous project to this one. Do another new error. Didn't you say resolve them all on save? So maybe they're all resolved. No, exactly. That's the thing. They're not, right? Like here, you have a visual indication. It's red underline telling you, yo, something is wrong, right? And I want this, and when you save, then they go away. But here, I don't even get the red underlines, which is kind of the whole point. But I copied like this entire like thing. So let's look, what are the differences between this project and that? Let's just like take it one by one. So package.json, is there anything else? No, because I built this with Next.js as well, right? We're using Next 13 as well. It's literally the same thing. Right? So I don't think it's package.json. What else could it be? ESLint, again, I literally copied the same file, so I doubt that would be the problem. And then any other like configuration, like here at the bottom, that's just prettier, so that's not, I don't think that's it. So, I had like issues with this in the past. I just don't remember how I fixed them, man. Damn. Check the console. Yes, check the console, but check what, right? Like I am getting these errors, which tells me that the lint is like working properly, but it's VS Code that is actually not working properly. What if I do the old close it and then reopen it? What if we do that? And then I'm gonna open recent, and it's better weather. No, still no. If I reload the, oh, there we go. And if I save, will it save? Boom. Boom, boom, boom. There we go. That's what we want. Except this is wrong. There shouldn't be two groups here. So we're going to fix that. But see, if something doesn't work, you close the app and you restart the app and everything just works. I love this. Output selection and select prettier ESLint. Yeah, okay. Here. Yes, you're right. We could have done ESLint. Yeah, it's all working now. So we are good to go. Great. Okay, now let's fix this because I don't like this. Actually, wait, let's fix this document. Yeah, that's fine. Basically, everything that's with like an at symbol, like this symbol here, should be in its own group, right? Anything else should be not in its own group, should be in a different group. So these are our rules here. And I think that, okay, I understand what happened. So I want page components. If I do this, what happens? Okay, that's fine. but I also want to put them, no. Oh man, I need to remember, how is it in this code? Like, you do it like this, it's fine. Okay, I know it's the issue. Right, okay. No, this is fine. This is a style. We'll leave this here for now. It's fine. I think every other page will work fine. I think it's just because this is the main app page. We're importing these styles here. Usually we're not going to import styles. We're going to do everything with Tailwind. So this won't be a problem. So I'm just not going to bother with this now. I don't want to figure this out. I don't want to dive deep into like regex and stuff. I've done this like a while ago and it's just like, not down. So we'll leave this here. We have the nav bar, right? We can close this. We have our nav bar here. And then if I go in our app, do we have a nav bar? Do we have a nav bar? Oh, we have to run the app, right? And I have to go to terminal, npm run dev. Cool. If you ask ChatGPT, remember that you have to be careful since it might make up some of the info. I know, Gruswar, dude. I know ChatGPT, it likes to make up info, but the real skill of ChatGPT is to kind of know the thing you're asking about and realize when it is making stuff up, right? And when the things that it's saying are a little bit sketchy. And then you should just be wary of that, right? So like I would only ask for it for like some sort of direction, right? And if it gets it right, great. If it gets it wrong, at least maybe it puts me a little bit more in the right direction. That was kind of the goal. Have you tried turning it off and on again? Yes, exactly, Bogdan, exactly. Yeah, there we go. Cool. Okay, that was some configuration stuff that took longer than I wanted, but it's fine. Ideally, we want to like actually code the app, right? So I'm going to close this and let's get to some fun stuff. So we have better weather here, and then we have hello from Next.js. Cool. So our navbar, we can close this. We're not going to do anything else with it now because, again, we have no pages, right? I want to start building the actual first page of weather, right? And the thing is, like, we get to make this, again, because this is going to be open source, right? We get to make this exactly how we want, right? So like, if you have any suggestions, please leave it in the chat right now. Like in terms of design, I didn't plan anything. I don't have any sort of kind of rules or requirements. It's really whatever we want to make of it, right? So like in terms of design and layout and everything. But I think we can at least start to build out the first page of our app, right? Like showing like one location and showing the weather for that location. And we're going to set all of that up first. And then we're going to look into like one of the, what API options we have in terms of APIs that we can use, pricing and whatnot, and maybe even get to setting something like that up. If not, if you don't get to that, we'll get to it in the next stream. But I want to first just set up kind of the layout for all of this. And we're going to create it now. And we're going to use Tailwind essentially to do this. So we have pages and we have index here. So this is going to be our main page, right? The way I'm thinking about this is you open up the app, right? The web app, and then you get the weather of someplace. Ideally, it's going to be based on location, right? So we're going to have to add something with location that it gets the user's location and then it shows the weather for that specific location. Right now, we don't have location, so we're kind of free to show any weather we want. And I'm from Europe. I know a bunch of you are from Europe as well, also from America, from Australia as well, and like Asia as well, and like all of the parts of the country. So we're literally free to like do it however we want. So yeah, maybe leave it in the chat what city you would like to see, and the best city wins, I guess, while I set up a bit of these things. But yeah. For the background, you should try making a change depending on the weather. Absolutely, I want to do that. I want to add animations to this, add like clouds and sun and stuff like that. And even if you know about the weather app on the iPhone, how it tracks based off the time of day and it shows like the sun position, right? Like I want to add maybe something like that. And I really want to make this like visually kind of appealing weather app. That's kind of the vibe I'm going for. Example, if it's raining in the background should have raindrops. Yes. Now, I'm really looking forward to coding that, or whoever is going to be coding like the animation of the raindrops. That's gonna be super fun to do. But yes, I stopped using ChatGPT and started using GitHub Copilot Chat. Dude, I tried the GitHub Copilot Chat. I'm in the beta as well, but I did not like it. It's the UI, at least to me, feels very like cumbersome. And I actually found going to ChatGPT to be easier, to be more efficient. Even if I have to like Alt Tab or like go to a different window, go to my browser and paste the code that way, I still found it to be like easier to use than the actual GitHub Copilot Chat. Maybe that's just me, maybe because it's really in early beta and the UI hasn't been like fine-tuned yet. But yeah, that's me. So like I still use ChatGPT on the web. It's the way that I go. What I like to see on homepage of a weather app is a weather summary of the day and an ability to see the whole week forecast within one tab. Yes. So I'm very big on like making the app as like efficient as possible, giving you all of the information that you can have really at like a glance without having to tap too much, without having to scroll too much. I really dislike when like you have to tap and find your way to like find the information that you want. And yeah, so that's my plan. And also, no, I think that's it. I just want to make it super efficient. Yes. Oh, and also I was thinking like we can even add like AI to this. Like there's a cool idea that has been floating around, which is like we could easily integrate eventually like ChatGPT or some equivalent to like based on the weather tell you what kind of clothes you should wear for that specific day, right? In like easy English. And we could easily do that with AI and it wouldn't be too much work. And I think like the value from that would be great like to have in a weather app. Again, I'm also looking for like ideas like this for things that we can add to the weather app because a weather app can get boring at some point. So if we like want to add some different things to it, some cool things, like we can do that. And yeah, it would be really cool to add some things like that. So yeah, we'll see. I use GitHub Copilot when I be doing practices and I got invited to the Copilot chat. Okay, yeah. GitHub Copilot is great, man. I'm using it now. I think I have it here, right? I have const, right? Or I don't. If I go to my extensions, Copilot should be there, right? Or did I enable it? It is. It's enabled globally. Why is it not like, if I do it here, right? Did I, hold on. I think I disabled it. I might have actually disabled it. Inline suggest enabled, true. Editor format on save true. No, I didn't. Man, why are things like not working? Like, why? Like, yo, just work, man. What if I disable it? Oh, reload required. What if I enable it again? It should like ask me, tell me something. Okay, disable, reload, and then Copilot. Copilot enable. Yo, complete my things, man. Really? Bruh. Like it works on my other workspace, but why is my GitHub Copilot not working all of a sudden? That sounds like me. An out-of-date IDE, that's not me. If I'm not, make sure you're signed into. I am signed into, right? I am. I'm signed in. So like, what's up? This extension isn't. I just want to code, man. I just want to code this app. I don't want to deal with like Copilot and all of this. Uninstall. I don't want to uninstall and select another version. I'm not down. Open your GitHub Copilot and check if you've paid the bill. There's no, I have paid the bill. Does not work. Oh my god. Okay. You know what? We can deal with this later. Again, we can deal with this later. It's fine. Cool. So let's think about how we want to do this. So before connecting it with the API, what I want to do is I want to create a new folder called types. We'll do types for now. And then we are going to, no, we're not going to do types. We're going to do entities. And then I'm going to do weather. And then .tsx. We're going to do weather data for now. We might change this in the future. I'm not sure, but weather data seems fine. And then export interface weather. And then we have to think, what do we want our weather data to have? Because we're actually going to start consuming this. And for now, before we connect this to an API, we're just going to create our own object with it. But we want to consume this in our UI. So what do we want this weather data to have? Well, the first thing we're going to want it to have is the current weather, right? What is the weather right now at this point? So current weather, and that is going to be of type number. And we have to think about the units that we're going to be working with. We have to make sure that from the API that we're getting, we have to make sure that we work with like some standard units. If it's Celsius, if it's Kelvin, if it's, I would not do Fahrenheit, but yeah, if it's Celsius or Kelvin, we have to just be consistent with that. But regardless, it's going to be a number. And that's going to be current weather. I think that is descriptive enough. Again, we might change this later. It's not a problem. And then I'm trying to think about the location. The location is going to be a totally different entity. So we'll do files location.tsx, export interface location. And location is going to have the coordinates, which is going to be an array of number, right? Let me figure it out. Best way to structure in TypeScript. Actually, you know what? Let me put a new chat and then let's just copy literally. Let's see what ChatGPT has to say. And if I zoom in, will ChatGPT save our... Aha. There you go. So first, we'll just do this. Easy, easy, easy. Again, Goosewar, this is where like you use ChatGPT and you don't have to use everything. I'm just going to use the latitude and longitude. I was thinking of doing it like this, but we can also do it as a location, export interface location, and just do this for now, and maybe name actually, because we want to actually display the location to the user. So we'll have latitude, longitude, and name. Cool. And then for now, I'm just going to const dev location equals, that's a location. And that's going to be, do we have a location? Bogdan, how about temperature? No, it's not going to be temperature because this weather data is what we're going to get from, it's the object that we're going to be working with, not directly from the API. So what we're going to do is we're going to get some data from the API, and then we're going to run that data through a function to convert that data to our weather data object, which is going to have all of these properties. And this is not only going to have the, were you talking about current weather? I think, yeah, if you're talking about current weather, then current temperature is definitely better. If you're talking about weather data, that should remain weather data because this is going to have more than just temperature. So yeah, current temperature, that is actually, what will OBS do? Yes, I was talking about current weather. There you go. There you go. So we changed it to current temperature. Thanks a lot, Bogdan. That is what I want. Cool. And now we have location. So what I want to do is I want to just create our dev location for now, right? This is just going to be without going to an API. We're just going to create our own location. Any suggestions for locations? No one has posted anything. Is Copilot free? No, it's not. It's actually a monthly subscription. It's like €9 or something. At least I pay in euros. It might be like $10 and just convert it to euros. But yeah, location, what I'm going to do is I am going to, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put the location of the place that I left because of the weather. And that is like when I lived in Canada, the city of Montreal. I'm going to put that there. I'm going to use Montreal for now, at least for dev, just because the weather there can sometimes get super, super horrible. And let's have fun with it, right? So let's go Montreal coordinates. And then I think it's, which one's the latitude? Which one's the longitude? Latitude is, let's just go with this. And then longitude is going to be 73. Great. And then why is this erroring? Oh, and then name. For now, this is fine. And now what we are going to do, we are going to come into our home and import dev location from entities location. And then we are going to, let's just do this for now and do dev location as location. I just want to work with like location dot name and then div location dot, oh right, we need the weather data. So right, our location is our location. It has this, but our weather data actually has the actual weather data. And I'm thinking, do we put the location inside? Do we do something like location here and then location? Is that what we want to do? I'm not sure, right? Because then you would come in here and you would get weather data. Yeah, let's do that. Let's actually do that. And then we have our dev location here. Great. And then we're going to do the same thing. Weather data. And then here it's going to be current. What's the current temperature in Montreal? $30. Yo, I left for, I should not have left, man. No, it's going to be 30 degrees. And then location is going to be dev location. There we go. And see, this is what I wanted, right? We imported location and then dev location, but it's telling me that there's an error. Run autofix to sort these imports because we want imports to be sorted. That is kind of the goal, right? Again, this doesn't make any difference now, but if you have like a huge import with like you're importing all of your components or something like that, it makes it easier to kind of have everything there, and it's just automatically handled by the linter and you don't need to think about it at all. Cool. So now instead of location here, we don't want actual location. We want import dev weather as weather data. And then we're going to do const location equals weather data. We're going to destructure it. So then we have location dot name, and then we have weather data dot current temperature. There we go. Now let's see what our beautiful app looks like. Guys, I am amazed. This is the best UI that we've ever seen in any application. I'm just kidding. Let's make this a little bit better. Nice content. Thank you. Thank you for being here, sweet tea. And use Open API to get coordinates. Right. I mean, sure, I can use Open API, but like I can just Google the coordinates. Again, we're just working with dev data right now, so we're not actually calling any API, so that's fine. So yeah, I just like hard coded the coordinates myself and the location. Do Breda. Oh, Breda. Yeah, I know Breda, but too late. We chose Montreal because again, I have personal ties to Montreal and why I left because of the weather there. So did we already live stream for an hour? And I have built nothing with this app. Wow, good job for me. We just built, this is what we built in an hour, guys. Let's be proud. Let's be proud of ourselves. No, cool. Okay, so what I'm thinking, at least for now, again, design later on, whatever. Maybe just even center this and that's it, right? So let's just like center it. Also, I haven't used Tailwind as much, so we are going to learn together. So Tailwind, CSS cheat sheet. I want like a cheat sheet for Tailwind. Just give me all of the basic, there we go. That's what I want. So now I want flex. And then display. Interesting. You just press this, you just put display and then what? And then this will automatically have flex. It doesn't. Why? Like legit, why? What if I put like, what if I put flex? I know that's a class. Oh, was I looking in the wrong place? No, I wasn't. There's like nothing here, right? So is this wrong? Display, right? Sets the element to be a flex container. Okay. I'm not sure why that doesn't work. Anyways, so I want this to be, if I do, what is it? Align. How do I align things? Flex, align. Yeah, there you go. Align items and justify content. Okay, if I do, what is it? Align, align center. Is that it? No, that's not it. Why? Why is it not it? Align self. I think I'm using this wrong because this shouldn't be justify. I don't think align items is a class. I don't think align content is a class. Anyone like have experience with Tailwind can guide me. Hello from Taiwan. Oh, wow. Hello from Taiwan. Look at you. Nice. Try to center the UI in 5 minutes or less. Yes, Gruswar. Let's. It's already been 5 minutes, man. I can't freaking center a UI. Flex, align center, justify center. Yes, that's what I thought as well, right? But then here you have justify content and then you have justify items and like, why? No, it's flex. I don't even think you need flex, right? Justify center. What will that do? What is this? Ah, it's okay. We need flex. Okay, we need flex. Fair enough. Oh, wait. Do I have this extension installed? No, I don't. I want to auto sort my Tailwind classes because I will not do it otherwise. Yes, code plugin auto sort Tailwind. Or is it a plugin? Auto sort Tailwind. It's prettier. Prettier. Prettier plugin. Let's do this. Yeah, that's what we need to do. Okay, cool. So we're going to install Prettier and we're going to install Prettier plugin Tailwind CSS. With that, we are going to have automatically our Tailwind classes sorted, which is what we want. Great. You need flex, believe me. Flex are great. Yeah, you're right. You need flex. Yeah, I thought that. The thing is, I work a lot with React Native. Maybe that's actually useful context. I've worked with web quite a bit in the past. Then I took like sort of a break and I've been doing a lot of like React Native. And obviously it's still React, right? So like it's the same skill set, but a lot of the things that I'm used to now come from React Native. And in React Native, you also have justify content, you also have align items, but you don't always need to put the flex, right? So that's why I kind of intuitively thought that you wouldn't. But again, we're here to kind of learn as we're progressing and kind of build this whole thing together. So yeah. So now that we have this, we can do run dev. And I believe if there we go. Did you see that? Flex is at the end, and then I save, and flex is at the beginning, which is what we want, right? Auto formatting for the win. Cool. So now if I do flex in this, there we go. Oh, Gruswar, it's 9:05. And I mentioned this, the time at 9. So it's been exactly 5 minutes. So it literally took 5 minutes to center this whole thing. Wow. There we go. Cool. All right. So let's think about this for a second, okay? Because I'm just like going willy-nilly here, but let's actually think about the structure of our components, right? So what do we want to have? We want to show the actual weather of today, and that's going to have the name of the place, right? And that's going to have also the temperature of the place. And then I'm also thinking it should have like maybe some other information at like a glance, right? So this to me is starting to feel like this can be its own component, right? Like the weather card component, if you will, or something like that, right? Like that we can then maybe reuse across the application. Maybe we want to use this component and show it like in a different page in a different format as well, right? So I don't want to like be putting all of this in the main, in the home page. I would actually export this into a separate component and kind of do it that way. So what I'll do is I'll go to my page components here. So see, this is useful. Again, now we're building another component, but it's a weather card component or whatever. And this one also makes sense for it to go in the page components because we are going to be applying this for now on this home screen right here. But who knows how many other screens we're going to have in the future, and who knows how many times we're going to have to reuse this component in. So going in the page components is a perfect place for it. And now, obviously, it's just going to be made up of like some divs. It's going to be very simple. But eventually, once we have like UI components for buttons and cards and all of that, that can extract away a lot of the styles that we can then reuse, those components would go in the components folder, which we haven't created yet. And then this page component, this weather data card that we're going to build now, is going to be made up of those small components. And that's kind of the way you want to think about it. You have your small UI components, buttons, inputs, cards, modals, and like primitive components that you then use to build out your UI. And you can use that in your main pages, right? And you can also build bigger page components that are still reusable, made up of those small components. That's the way that I think about it. And that's the way that I've come to learn that it is a great way to structure your React application. So let's create a new folder, and we're going to call this weather data card. Let's do weather data card for now. Again, I'm still confused. I'm not confused. I'm still unsure about weather data versus weather, right? Weather would be a lot slightly smaller. And then if we're writing it so much, it may be beneficial to switch to weather. At the same time, it's not worth to make that decision right now. So we're going to leave it for later. So this will be a weather data card, and then obviously .tsx, and then we want to do RGS FC2. By the way, this is just a snippet that I have that creates for me a component, and then weather data card props. And then that's going to be, for now, we're going to leave it. And now these props, what they're going to take in is we're going to, even though we're not loading anything from the API, what we want to do is we want to follow the same structure that we would if we had an API, which means that our data is going to come from this component, from the home component, which we are going to eventually load from the actual API. But now we're just loading it statically here from this variable. And this is going to pass the data to the weather card so that the weather card is purely a UI component that doesn't do any fetching, doesn't do anything with the actual data itself. It just takes in some weather data and it purely displays it, right? We want to make this a dumb component. So what this will do is it'll take in data, I guess, and then actually no, let's do weather data, and that's going to be of type weather data. And see, this is the benefit of using TypeScript. You have everything typed, which is great. And then we're going to go back to our weather data. I'm going to close this because we don't need it for now. I'm going to close location. We don't need it for now. I'm going to copy all of this that we had here. and paste it inside of here. And then it's going to complain. That is fine. That, and then we're going to also take in this location here, and then we're going to do weather data, and then location here, and then we have the same code as before. We're just going to come and replace this weather data card, and this of course expects, right, a weather data property, so we'll do weather data, and then we're going to pass it this weather data that we have here. Again, we don't need this. And again, we are pretending that we're fetching this from an API. We're actually not, but this is how you would do it if you were even fetching this from an API. Cool. So why not using Next.js 13.4? Next, let's see. Where is it? My dude, I am on 13.4. Maybe you're referring to the new app directory and all of that, and I'm telling you, we will use it. We're just going to start out with this pages here so that you can learn about pages. And then once the server components are kind of more stable, we can incrementally upgrade where it makes sense. I did not want to make this entire app based off of server components because not everything about server components is fully figured out yet, and things might change, and I think it would be a bit more confusing for you if we have to change things down the line. So I'd rather go with something that is tried and tested, that has a couple of years behind, right? Use that, and then as you know, in Next.js you can incrementally upgrade to the app style app router incrementally, right? So we are going to do that, and that is going to be a great exercise for you so that you can see, okay, this is how we did it before, this is how it worked, this is how we can do it now with the new app router, and you can get like a feel for both that way. And my goal for this is that you learn more from doing it that way than if we just went to the app router. The whole thing with like new technologies is you have to be a little bit careful. I can definitely understand how like the new shiny toy is like super exciting to work with, right? Like you want to get on it and you want to build with it and not look at anything else. But you have to really consider, and this is something that you'll run into like when you actually progress in your career, you have to consider the implications of jumping on something that is new, right? That hasn't had the years of experience to be tested, because things can change, things can break, things can, happen. And to build your entire project on that, if you're trying to like run a business out of it and you really depend on that project, it can be detrimental to your project. So it's always a good idea to start with like what is tried and true and tested, and then slowly increment, when things make sense. That's generally what I've seen working in real applications, because we've had a lot of issues with like running on unstable technologies. Not to say that server components are unstable, right? They're rated for production, and that's fine. But again, there's no stable way to like make mutations yet, so you would have to do a workaround there. I think as recent as like a month ago, there were still some like TypeScript hacks that you had to do to get it working, and I don't want to like bring all of that into like this project, into this tutorial, because it doesn't make sense. It's like not efficient, right? So let's start with the pages, and then incrementally over time we can go into the app directory. I think that makes a lot more sense. Yes, Bogdan, thank you for getting back to Amit Soni after I went on my rant. Let's see what's on TikTok. Maybe adding air quality and UV. Yes, I thought about air quality, absolutely. So we can do that. We can add air quality, but let's just see if this works first. But yes, we'll definitely add some things. Right. So what we want to do, yes, we want to style this whole thing, so center this whole thing. So here's another lesson for you. You never want to, so right now what we did is we centered this Montreal, this name of the place that we have the weather of. We've styled it inside of the weather data card component. And you don't want to do this because this is the responsibility of the parent. The parent should be responsible for how things are laid out in its own kind of component, in its children, and the children should only worry about how things look, should only style things that are within their own component, right? A child should not style itself to fit in the parent view. right? Which is what we did here. We have this flex and justify center, but this is on the child because we moved it when we created this component from the pages, from the main home component. So what I want to do is I want to remove this, right? Because this is not a style that belongs to this component. And I want to put the style in here, div, and then I'm going to do class name, and I messed up the styling here. So we'll do this. Right, and now we should have all of them like this. That's fine, right? The parent decided that the weather card in its entirety should be styled like this in the middle of the screen. And now styles that are relevant to this weather card, we want to style the inside of the weather card. So we want Montreal to be at the top and then 30 to be at the bottom. So these are styles that go inside of the weather data card. So that's where we're going to put them. So we'll do div and then class name, and then that's going to be flex again. We're going to be using a lot of flex. I'm not the biggest fan of grid for the simple reason that I haven't used it. I've been like a flex person, so flex is the way to go. So we're going to do flex, and then it's going to be flex row, no column. If I do flex, what happens? Okay, it's like this. Cheat sheet, Tailwind, flex, row, flex direction, flex row. That's what I wanted. Flex row, right? Why is it not working? Yo, flex row. Flex row, right? That's what I have in my code. Flex row. Why? Do I have to remove flex? I doubt it. What? No, that makes no sense. No, that's not accurate. The flex row it's not applying any styles. Is flex row flex call? No, it's not flex call. We don't want. Even flex call doesn't work. Why? If I put back the flex. So we have display flex, but flex call is not being applied. I am confused. Flex call, what if we do, what did we do here? Justify center. So justify center is applied. Is flex call like not a class, but it's, bro, like it's here. Like it's flex call, you're right. We need, but I have this exact thing. I'm copying, pasting this exact thing. Like, what if we remove this? No, we need this. We need this. Yeah, flex row is by default. You're right. You're right. On native, it's actually column, because you don't have like much space on the phone screen, so it's always defaults to column. But why? Like, I literally copied this from the documentation. So like, why? Justify center, the display flex, they're there, but flex column is not there. Like, all that I want is for it to work. If I apply it to a different class, will it do something? It won't. Flex call it. Do I have to, I don't have to run anything, right? To like, no, I don't. Tailwind is automatically like compiling and putting the right classes. So like, what's the issue? I honestly am lost. We have flex, we have flex call, right? Like this is flex call reverse. What if we do that? Which is not what I want to do, but no, even that doesn't work. Flex call doesn't work in, no. Class is not applying. Is there a tailwind.config? Right. Ah, there we go. There we go. We need page components. I thought about this. Page components as well, right? And then let's alphabetize all of this. And now if I do flex call, it should work. I will guarantee you. There you go. We hadn't set Tailwind to look in the page components folder which we created, and that's why it wasn't getting recognized. And we got flex because flex was a class that was there before. There we go. Okay, cool. Now we have this. I want to, it's not justify center. I'm going to do align center, right? No. Yeah. Is align center not a class as well? Align items. Item center, of course. Okay. Item center. There we go. That's what I wanted. There we go. So I wanted like this to look kind of like this. Great. Okay, cool. Great. So now we have the card. Let's build out something. You know what? Let's build out a UI component that we're going to be using throughout. So in src, new folder, components, right? And then inside, I'm going to create another folder called card. And inside of card, I'm going to do card.tsx. Great. And this is going to be a UI component. You see, we created a components folder. This is purely a UI component. It's going to take in some children and just render out some basic styles around it. So it's going to make like a border and a shadow, probably, if you will. So we're going to do it's going to be card props. And then it's going to take in some children, which we need to type. And that's going to be React element, I believe. Yes. And then we're simply going to render div, and then we're going to render our children inside of that div. Great. And then here we're going to do class name. And then Tailwind, let's look at border. Border width. So border, great. And then let's just test it out. So here what I want to do is I want to wrap this with card. Right? And that's going to be that. And now if I go in our app, we should have a border. There we go. That's what we want. We want obviously some padding. So we're going to go in our card and add, I think it's P2, I think we can do. That seems fair. And then border radius. That's going to be, ooh, can I just round it? Align items. Yes, thank you. React Node. Yes, thank you. Thank you for the tips on TikTok. We are vibing. Yes, cool. So P2. And I put the rounded. Okay, this is actually fine. For now, again, right? We're like heavily zoomed in. So this is how it like actually should look on my screen. But we're like deep zoomed in so that you can obviously see it, right? So we're gonna do maybe a bit more spacing. So P4, I think. Yeah. So we're gonna do P4, that's fine. Great, so this is kind of how our app looks like. Actually, what I'm gonna do is, this should be below. The temperature should be there, and then the location should be actually below. And now let's do something. Let's actually render out our weather. I wanna format essentially our actual temperature, right? And I want to create a new folder, utils, right? And then inside of that, I'm going to do new folder, formatting. These are all of the formatting things we're going to do. And then index.ts. And here, we're going to create a function that takes in a temperature of type number, and also optionally will take in a unit of measurement. And based off of that, we'll format the measurement directly. We're going to do this manually for now. I'm sure there's a library that does that, but if we can avoid doing a library, I think we should. So export const format temperature, and that is going to take in the actual temperature of type number, and then unit, and that's going to be, let's do something const unit is going to be either how do I do this, Celsius or Fahrenheit. Actually, that's not what I want. I wrote it wrong. Okay, and then this is going to return. For now, we're just going to do a string interpolation. So temperature, and then what's the degree symbol? We're just going to copy this degree symbol. Of course, there's copy this degree symbol and then put it here, and then C, because easy. And then we're going to add it to do add other units. So you know what, the unit, we're going to leave it for, actually, no, we can do this. Yeah, we're going to do this. Type unit is equal to either Celsius or Fahrenheit. And then that's going to be of type temperature unit, and that's going to be equal to Celsius. So if, actually, we're not going to, no, if unit so we're going to do if it's Fahrenheit, and if it's just Celsius, which is going to be the default, we're going to do it. And then we're going to come back in our weather data, and then we're simply going to do format temperature weather data dot current temperature. And now if you go into our application, boom, we have 30 degrees and we have the location. Great. So that is looking quite nice for now. Good. So what else can we do? Can we add, let's just look at some, this one, the free public APIs, the best free weather APIs. What's TikTok saying? Enum, please, for unit. Actually, I don't want to necessarily do an enum this time. I'll just do like a type, which is this, and I think that's fair enough. Enums are not always the best thing. I mean, you can do them, it's fine, but like if you can get by with just a string, I would do a string. So weatherapi.com, let's check this out. Weatherapi.com, right? JSON and XML. Can I just see like the docs? Real-time weather, 14-day weather forecast, historical weather, marine weather, and tide data. Tide data, that's what we want. I want to see like what kind of data do they give, just so we have an idea of like how we would build this. So like latitude, longitude, name. We would eventually have to add like region and country and time zone and stuff like that to our location object. But again, future problems. Air quality. Someone said wind. Do we care about wind? Let me open my weather app. So on my weather app, we have the name of the place, the degrees, the high and low, that's what we want, and then an English description of the temperature. So I think we're going to do that. So we're going to want to add high and low, definitely. So we're going to go here to our, we can close our card, we don't need it anymore. We can close our formatting, we don't need it anymore. Where we have weather data, current temperature, we can have, yes, max temperature. That's going to be a type number, min temperature, number, right? And then max temperature is going to be max, let's put 30. And let's put now maybe 27. And then min temperature is going to be 21. Let's see. And then, yeah, we're going to have these like these. And then I want to have like the English kind of representation of our temperature. How would we call it? let's see. Okay, great. We have the location current is the condition. Ooh. So we're going to do condition. Sure, let's do condition for now. Again, we can change all of these things later. It's fine. Condition, and that's going to be of type string. So condition is going to be of type cloudy, because it's usually cloudy in Montreal. Cool. So now we have the min and the max. So what we want to do is we want to create a div here. So let's do the min. No, let's do the condition first. So weather data dot condition, right? In our app now we have it. And actually we want to like figure out the class name text SM, I think is the word. Yeah, I think that's it. Again, we're extremely zoomed in, so it is what it is. And then I want to do div, and then that is going to be our max and our min, and we can literally do weather data dot max. Actually, we need to format this, format temperature, right? And then we're going to do on, and then format temperature weather data dot min temperature, right? Is that how it is on my phone? It's high and low. Yeah, okay, they say high and low, but it is what it is. Okay, so that looks relatively decent. Actually, what I can do, this is gonna be text class name text XL, I think. Why doesn't it apply? Is it a wrong class? I'm sure it's a wrong class. Text, where's text? Font. Ah, is it? No, it's text XL. Text to XL. Is there like, I want like a head, like an H2 maybe? Typography. I mean, honestly, what am I doing? Like H2, what is, why do I complicate life so much? But these styles, they're not applying. Why? Is it, are we running? We're running the app. So we are in weather data card, right? We've added the, because it's, yeah, okay, it's fine. But this H2, oh, we haven't applied styles to our H2, basically, yeah. If you get a quick sec, could you do a quick review of where we are with React and TypeScript logic? Like where each component is pulling its data and how it's getting passed. Are you talking about this app specifically in terms of like recapping what we've done so far, or something else? Yeah, someone said you have to use class name, not class. Yes, sometimes I still do that. I still write class. What web browser are you using from TikTok? I'm using the Arc browser. It's from this company called The Browser Company. It's quite fitting. I like it. It's not perfect, obviously. And I used Chrome before. I've used Chrome for like years, decades even. But this one is also, it's a Chromium-based browser, so it's also based on Chrome. But the reason I like it is you can have all of these spaces here, and I can easily move between like my different kind of users and spaces, and it's easier for me to organize my tabs, to the point where this and only this feature was enough to get me to switch. I don't care about the performance. I don't care about like how it looks or like any additional functionality that it has. The only thing that I really care about is the way that it allows me to organize my tabs. Like it's really, really useful. And also like a small feature, but like that does a lot for me is you can set a timer for your tabs. So if your tabs, if you don't use your tabs for like 12 hours or 24 hours, they will just automatically get killed. And so it makes it very difficult to have like 50 tabs open that linger on for like days and sometimes even weeks. So just because of that, it was enough for me to like get to switch. And again, it's Chromium based, so like everything that you would have on Chrome, you also would have here. Yes, so David said on YouTube, a recap. So sure, we can do a recap. I think it's a great place to do a recap. So we've actually done quite a bit. I'm actually quite happy that we've picked up some UI work in the last kind of half an hour after we spent like 30 minutes or so like setting up lint rules and centering a div. Go figure. So yes, so we created a Next.js app, right? We went to Next.js and we ran their command npx create whatever the command was, create next app at latest or something. Then we set it up with TypeScript. We set it up with ESLint. We set it up with the pages routing, the pages directory, and not the app directory. And the reason is that we will eventually move on to the app directory when it becomes a bit more stable and when we've kind of understood the concepts and how you work with the pages directory. So we've done that. And then we started to think, before we applied some ESLint rules. So we created an ESLint .json file here, which we've installed a simple import sort and a sort keys fix and a TypeScript ESLint plugin. So we just got some default behavior from the TypeScript ESLint plugin. And then we added automatic sorting for our individual imports and for our keys in our application. And we set this up through this file to then get it to work. Obviously, we had to kill VS Code and restart it over again, which was a fun solution. And then once we did that, we started to think about our app and the kind of data that we want in our app and how that's going to look. So we started by creating this weather data object with all of these properties here. And then we created as well a location object with these properties here, latitude, longitude, and name. Obviously, we're going to add to this as we go along. And then we created a dev location. This is just for us to work in dev right now. And we've created a dev weather data to also work in dev right now, so we can have the actual UI for this. And then what we did is we essentially set up our homepage, which is going to be the main page that the user sees when they're going onto the app. And we kind of pretended that we're fetching data from an API without actually doing so. We're going to do that in another stream. And we're getting this weather data object and we're passing it to the weather data card, as we would if we were loading this data from an API, for example, in server-side rendering. And then we created this weather data card component, which is made up of a few divs. We created some helper functions to help us format the actual temperatures. And we created our first UI component, which essentially wraps its children with some styles and maybe even has some additional functionality. So that's kind of the recap of what we have been doing so far. So if anyone has any questions or anything like that, post them either on YouTube or on TikTok and I will look and answer them. Cool. So we have this, right? And already, like, I'm quite proud because this looks like, I mean, it's a shit app, right? Obviously, but this looks like we have some data, right? We have a temperature, we have like a location, we have cloudy, we have this, right? So we have something to go on. So now what I'm thinking of doing is, what else do we want to add to this? Maybe we want to add a little section here at the bottom that lays out, just like the weather app on the iPhone, that lays out the kind of next either hours of weather and the next days of weather. So you can quickly at a glance, when you open this page, see, okay, what's the current weather today? What's the max? What's the min? What's the current status? We will add animations and stuff like that as well. And then you can also see what the next 24 hours look like and what the next 7 to 10 days to maybe 14 days, depending on what the API does. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the hours now. So we're going to look at that. And what I just want to do is, let's look at our code and let's think about how, let's close everything and think about how we want to structure this. So this is going to come in our weather data, right? So this is going to be current temperature. And then I'm thinking, if we're loading this data from an API, it's most likely going to come as one response, right? As we've seen here, this is just like an example response, right? This is current. Okay, so this is all the data about the current weather. So like the temperature and the condition and the wind and whatnot. But what about getting the data for like different dates? Is it going to come from a different endpoint? Do we have to create like a different type in our code, or can we use a property of our existing type? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Because ideally we want to map our internal code structure as much as possible to the actual API structure, just so that it's going to make it a lot easier to kind of work with. So let's maybe, how do I get like historical and future weather? I want future weather. View docs, right? 14, no, I don't want the 14 day. I want the future weather, 15-minute interval. That's an enterprise only. Okay, let's look at another API. This one I looked at before, read the docs. No, that's not the one. It's open. Yes, this is the one. Okay, guide. Let's go. API. It's actually API. So hourly forecast, daily forecast, 16 days. That's what we want. Right? Okay, so you would send forecast / daily, and then latitude and longitude, which we have. CNT, that is count, number of days, fair enough. And then the mode and the API key, fair enough. So what is this going to return to us? It's going to return to us a property with the city, and then a list of daytime, sunrise, sunset, temperature, right? See, these are in Kelvin, right? So we would have to handle these and convert them from Kelvin to Celsius or whatever we want to display the user. Right now in our code, we're working with Celsius, so there, yeah, there's that. But it's giving it as a list, right? And I think, honestly, let's just do it as a list inside of our weather data component. And if ever we want to use this API and it has its own endpoint for like the 16-day forecast, we can just extract that property out and make it into its own kind of type. We would already have the type for it, and then it just would automatically kind of work. Cool. So let's go to weather data, and then let's go, what is it called? Daily forecast data. Let's do that. Daily forecast data. And that's going to be, we're going to create our own type, export, maybe not export for now, interface, daily forecast data, capital D. And then that is going to have, again, max and min, right? There's no current temperature in that one, so that is fine. And then condition is also going to be, we want the condition of that day as well, right? To show an icon like a cloud or whatever. So we want that. And then daily forecast data in our weather data is going to be daily forecast data. And here we just need to create, let's just make a separation dev data. And then we're going to do export const dev daily forecast data. Is going to be of type daily forecast data. And then we're going to do, so actually it's going to be an array of these, right? So we need an array, and then we're going to wrap this in an array, right? Cool. And our first item is going to have, so min and max temperature. So let's put this for now, and then condition. And actually this will be lowercase. So it's going to be condition sunny, min and max 30. And we're just going to do maybe 1 to 4 kind of days ahead. And we can do cloudy, rainy, sunny. And then we'll do, when it's cloudy, it's going to be 27 to, I don't know, 18. When it's rainy, it's going to be 24 to 15. And then let's put 16. And then when it's going to be sunny, it's going to be 31 to 22. I think that is fair enough. And then our dev weather data, we're actually not going to export this because we don't need to export it right now. Our dev weather data is going to have daily forecast data, dev daily forecast data. Why is this complaining? Is missing? Aha, we forgot to type it as an array here. There we go. So to recap, we created a daily forecast data interface, which is essentially going to be the daily forecast. So in the next couple of days, what the forecast is going to be, that's going to have condition string, max temperature number, min temperature number, right? That's fair enough. Then in our weather data, we added a new property called daily forecast data. That's going to be an array of this new object that we created. And then we created some dev data as well. Sunny, cloudy, rainy, sunny with some temperatures. And we added this to our dev weather data. Cool. So now that we have this, what we want is we want to create another page component for the daily forecast, right? Because in our app, right, we have this component, which is going to be the actual weather data card. And then we want below it to have the daily forecast. So that is a good candidate for a new page component. Stormy. Yes, we can do stormy. Let's do stormy. Is it stormy or thunderstorm? I think it's thunderstorm. I think that'll be more appropriate. But if it's, you know what, let's do sunny here. No, let's do here thunderstorm, and then here sunny, because sunny is going to be 31 degrees and thunderstorm is going to be 24 degrees. That makes a lot of sense. We are in summer, so Montreal also gets summer. Cool. So now why TypeScript over JavaScript? Simple reason. TypeScript, you have all of these types, right? And we're actually making use of them. We're defining all of our types. And then we know the objects that we're working with. And it's super efficient. It saves a lot of time when you have all of the objects. If you somehow forget a property or you do something wrong, TypeScript will tell you ahead of time, and you will be less likely to run into bugs as you work on the app. Ever since I switched to TypeScript, I haven't looked back, and now when I try to work on a project without TypeScript, it's a little bit of a struggle. Can you show how you use the image component from Next? Yes, I will, but once we get to actually having an image, right? Not sure if we'll get to it in this stream, but we could potentially use it for like the condition, right? The condition, which is going to be of type string. The condition is going to be basically the clouds, the sun, whatever, like the icon for it. And actually what I'm going to do is, I just realized, interface condition, and that's going to be, sorry, type condition is going to be equal to cloudy, sunny. We're going to do, what other thing do we have? Thunderstorm. I think that's what we had, right? So we're going to type here condition. So that way we know that we can only expect these values from a condition, and we're less likely to have bugs. Again, this is also one of the benefits of using TypeScript over JavaScript. So condition, and then thunderstorm. Thunderstorm. See, TypeScript already threw an error because I had the type wrong. So that's generally why you would want to use TypeScript. Cool. So now let's build the... I can't imagine working without TypeScript. Yes, absolutely. Me neither, honestly. Like, I mean, you can, and like maybe for like a simple project that like you just want to get something up and running like super quickly, like yes, you could do it. But like for this and like generally what you want to build, like if it's a production application that like, you know, will have some users and stuff like that, it's usually a much better idea to use TypeScript overall. So I'm with you, Noxy. TypeScript FTW. Cool. So let's now create our weather, our daily forecast component. So we'll do daily forecast. Is it forecast with an E or without an E? Forecast, it's with an E. Great. Okay, cool. Daily forecast, new file, daily forecast.tsx maybe. And then we're going to do RGSFC2. Daily forecast, and then what this is going to take in as props, it is going to take in the daily forecast, which is going to be of type daily forecast, which I believe we have to export. Yes, that is going to be daily forecast data and an array of it, right? And then we're going to do daily forecast here for now, and now we're going to come in here and we're going to do daily forecast and the forecast data is going to be weather data dot daily forecast data. And yes, that's how we want to use it. And now if we do this, what happens? We will have nothing because obviously we're not rendering anything in our component. So let's actually render something. So div, and then daily forecast.map, because it is an array, right? So forecast, and then what do we want to return here? We're going to do return div key dot honestly, we can do index for now. This data is not going to change necessarily. It's not it's fine to use the index because the data is going to be pretty static. It's not going to be like reordered, moved around. And so all of these like optimizations that React will do with the actual key, we don't have to worry about for now, because we don't have like an ID for this. And I doubt we will have an ID from the API as well. If I look at here, right, count, and then you have the list and you don't have, I mean, perhaps the date, right? Yeah, perhaps the date. Actually, we should do this. We should do in our daily forecast, we're also going to have date, and that's going to be of type date, I think. And then the ID, let's do, we're going to want to install date FNS for this. We're really going to want to install date FNS. We'll do npm install date FNS. Date FNS, by the way, is a formatting library for dates. It is quintessential if you're building like an app. It's great. Like you can format things in any way that you like. You can do things with dates, add dates, remove dates, relative dates, anything that you want. It is super, super useful. And basically what I want to do here is I want to create a date for each of our objects and give it like date plus one, plus one, plus one, and so on. So that installed, npm run dev. Now that we have this, what I want to do is I'll do dev data const today equals new date, right? And then date here is going to be date, add days from date FNS, today 1, right? That's going to be tomorrow. And then here we're going to do add days 2, that's going to be the next day, add days 3, the day after that, and so on. Okay, what went wrong? Did I mess something up? I did. No, I didn't. I don't know. No, that's fine. Yes, cool. So now we have a date, and then I believe if we have, we can get rid of the index, and then we can even do forecast.date, and you can't do it this way. Date is not assignable to type. Yeah, okay, we need to format the date. Cool. So we're going to go into our formatting here, index, and then we are going to go export const. I mean, do we? No, we don't. Do we? No, we don't. Let's do this. We're going to just format the date straight up here. Format from date FNS. We're going to give it the date, forecast.date, and then the string is going to be year, month, day, right? So this is going to format the year in the kind of ISO standard of like 2023. The month is 06 and the day is 23. And that will be unique because we know that each date, we're not going to have more of the same date, right? So that will work as a key. And then what we want to do is we want to, if we have the daily forecast, it might be worth it to create another component, which is going to be, let's not do it for now. Let's just do it like this. But eventually we're going to want to create a new component, and you're going to see why in just a second. So this is going to have, again, what do we have in the weather data card? We had format temperature, and then, no, we actually want format max temperature and min temperature, and we want the condition. So we want just these two. So we're going to do them like this, and then it's not going to be weather data. It's going to be forecast.condition, and then forecast.min and max temperature, and we're going to import these functions here. Cool. So now let's see what happens in our app once we did this. Great. So you see we have all of these kind of things here. Obviously, styling is horrible, so let's just fix that, but our data is now working. Great. So first of all, this div is going to be flex call, right? So already we're going to have them like this. And then I don't want this to take the full width. So how can I, let's domain class name. I believe it's container Next.js, but even that doesn't do anything. What if no. Ideally, don't want this to be like full width. So let's do Tailwind make box take up size of content. Why don't you move your interfaces to a type.d2 file? Because that's not the way that I've done it usually. Usually I have a separate folder for like interfaces, because it's not just types, right? It's also functions that go with them. Like here, eventually we're gonna have some like functions that like do things with the type. Like for example, you need to, I don't know, get the specific 3-day weather from a weather data object. We might have a helper function here that would do that, and it would make sense to kind of put them here. Again, this is not purely types, right? This is a little bit more than types. That's why I call it entities, because it's kind of the entities of our application, and like anything that is for location, we're going to put in location. Anything that's for data, we're going to put in data, and so on. But again, this is just like the initial setup. We might change this in the future if we find that there's a better alternative. So I'm flexible. What's the difference in using type and interface? Honestly, I think there are some like subtle differences, but generally it's just the way that you actually write it, right? Like with a type, for example, you can do type test equals condition, and you put the and sign, and test equals to Boolean, right? You can do this with a type. If you were to do an interface and underscore test, you cannot do like an and sign here. You would have to do test and then extends condition, and then you would do this, right? But it's saying, what's the problem? An interface can only extend an object type, or yeah, okay. So because this is a type, you can't extend it, right? So interfaces are like one thing, types are the other. They work in the same way, minus the syntax, right? But generally, once you work with TypeScript enough, you'll kind of know when to use a type, when to use an interface. I use them almost interchangeably, not always for like my props, like my component props. They're always going to be interfaces. Except in some cases when it's like a component that inherits another component, and then maybe you want to get the type from that and stuff like that. But usually if I'm just building a component from scratch that is kind of isolated, I'll go with an interface. Usually my types and everything, they will be interfaces. But see, for example, I could not have done this like string here, like this condition to be cloudy or sunny or thunderstorm and nothing else. I could not have done this with an interface. There's no way to do this with an interface. I had to use a type. And this is something that you would just get to know as you're working with TypeScript in general. Cool. Hey, man. Congrats on your content. I know you from TikTok. Thanks for sharing. Well, thank you. Thank you for being here. And thank you for the kind words, Bruno. I plan to make a lot more content going forward. So yeah, stay tuned for that. I'm really, really excited. Cool. So now we have our daily weather. What I just want to do, how do I make this box take the size of the box, right? Can I give it a height? What if I do box content? Will that work? I'm just like trying stuff out. That would be in, so forget the container. We don't need this. That would be in, okay, we need weather data. We need daily forecast, and we need this here. Card, and then you know what I want to do? Ooh, this is gonna be great. So in our card component, right, I want to get rid of this like div, because I don't want this extra div for nothing if we have the card component. So what I'm going to do is in this card component, I'm going to have it take in an optional name of type string, right? Sorry. And then here, class name. And then we are going to apply this class name here. And then we just need the curly brackets. Right, so let's add it to do. I know in Tailwind the order of the classes matter, and here we're just like straight up passing the class name. I'm pretty sure there's like a utility for this. I just don't want to deal with this now, so I put it to do to like check the class name and ordering. But essentially what I want to do is I want to pass this class name to this card. Right, do it like this, so that I get rid of a div. And why is this right. Yeah, so what's it's complaining about here is that it's saying that this JSX tags children expects a single child of type React element, but we gave it an array of children, right? So all that we need to do is change this type to React element or React element an array. And now we've basically said that this card can take in the children, can either be of type React element or an array of React elements like we have here. And now our error is gone. So now I've applied this class name, and I really hope that this works because I'm not 100% sure. If I open this and I inspect this element, what do we have? Flex column, items, center, rounded border. If I remove flex from here, what happens? Okay, if I remove, interesting. So it's this flex column thing that, okay. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna like hard code it here. So like height and width. Wait, I didn't put this box content. What if I do box content? That's what I wanted to do actually. Box content. What happens now? Nothing. What if I do the height? What happens? Ooh, this is what I want. This is what I wanted. Cool. So forget box content. We're going to leave it for now. We're obviously going to deal with the size later on. We're going to make this responsive and whatnot, obviously, but just for now, like, don't want to bother. I want to, in the main, why is this now align center? No. Basically, this is not like align to the center. I want to align it to the center. So align center, div class, align center, right? Like align center is not a class, is it not? It's what was it? It's item center. Man, Tailwind, ugh. Item center, there we go. That is what I want. That is what I want. Great. So now everything works as it should. Great. Zariab says, I really liked your React hook series. Even having 2 years of experience in React, I learned a lot. Thank you so much for such an amazing content. Love from Pakistan. I send love back to you, man. Thank you so much for the kind words. And yeah, I'm really glad that you're here. Really glad that you're here. And for all the way from Pakistan, it's pretty late there, right? It's like, I'm in Europe right now. I'm in Vienna. So like, it's already 10 o'clock here. But in Pakistan, it's like, I don't know, time in Pakistan. It's 1 in the morning. So props to you for being on a live stream at 1 in the morning. Bogdan, time for another to do. Where? I fixed it. I fixed the problem. So what to do? What is the to do? Cool. So we have the daily forecast, so we can close the weather data. We can close the weather data card, and we can do our weather forecast. So I want to also make this. No, I'm not going to make this a card. So I'm going to create some styles for the wrapper, the container of the daily forecast. So I'll do class name, and that is going to be flex. Flex row is the default, and we're going to do items start, because we want them to start, and then justify center, right? We're going to do this, and if I do that, there we go. That's what I want. So I want them to be horizontally laid out and yeah, displayed that way. For the box sizing, well, I figured it out, so there you go. Cool. So now we have that, and then each individual item, we're going to give it a class, and actually we don't need this extra div, so we'll get rid of that. We'll give it a class, and that is going to be flex as well, and it's going to be flex call because we want it to be from top down, and that's going to be align items center, and then justify. Let's do without justify for now, see what happens. That's exactly what I want to happen. And then I want to add padding, I think it's X 2. What happens? That's what I want. Great. And then what I want to do is do some spacing between this part right here and this part right here. So what I'm going to do is, because this is spacing on the actual layout of the page, what I want to do is add this styles to the actual page component and not the individual cards. So we'll do div, put this in a div, and then for good measure, we'll do div as well, put this also in a div, and then we're going to do class name, margin bottom 2, I think. And that will give us some margin, right? And then we have our each individual weather here. And yeah, this is looking quite nice, honestly. And I think this is actually, yeah, we can stop here and kind of just spend a bit of time, just reflect on what we've done and think about maybe what things we want to do in the future. Because we've made some good progress. I feel that we've covered a lot of things about like the app and about how to set it up, how to install all of the dependencies that we need, the things that we want to think about, and then actually building the UI and building the interfaces and the types that we're going to use in our UI. So yeah, what I'm thinking of doing is then on the next stream, we're going to add this kind of, so this is the daily forecast. This is actually not how I want it to be. I want the daily forecast to be like a list from like a column, a row list, right? So like from top to bottom. And I want this to be the actual hourly forecast, right? I'm kind of thinking of maybe mimicking the iOS weather app, because I like the design as well. And until we have a different design, until we figure out a different design, I think we can just go with that. So what I will do is I will then move this into its own, I will just rearrange the component so that it renders from top to bottom. And then we'll create a new component called hourly forecast. That's going to hold the weather in our increments. So I think that's kind of a next step that we want to do. And then we want to think about which API do we actually want to use, connect that, make the request, server side render the requests, and yeah, try to like actually bring this app to life. And then somewhere along those lines, I will make this open source, and then I will work on, we'll do probably a live stream on making this open source. And I will essentially create like templates for issues and kind of a contributing file, and basically give you all of the resources to sort of be able to contribute no matter the skill level. And the goal is for anyone that wants to contribute, that is learning React, that is part of the Discord or not, right? That is watching the YouTube videos, can come in, can contribute, can get some like real world experience. And then actually even use this as like part of your portfolio, right? Because if you have worked on something that is like real life, that's really valuable, right? And that's actually an advice that I would give to anyone looking to learn React, is to like actually work on things that are real life, that have like that are real world applications, because there you will see how everything that you're learning is actually used in the real world. And I think that's super, super valuable. So I'm quite happy with where we're at right now. I think it's, like I said, a good place to stop. We have a plan for the future, for the next stream. I'm going to do these streams for now once a week. I'm thinking of Fridays around this time, 8 p.m. GMT +1. That's like 2 p.m. Eastern time. And I don't know the hour and like another time, but you get the idea. I will post about it then. And yeah, we will continue this app. I'm super excited. I'm happy with the progress that we have so far. I'm happy that we managed to stream on both TikTok and YouTube, and things are like going well. So I'm super excited for that. And yeah, if you have any sort of advice, or you want to like contribute to this app even before it's open source and whatnot, you are welcome to come in Discord, post about it on any channel, post on comment on one of my videos if you want, if you're not on Discord. and I would love to take in your suggestions and bring them to life. So yeah, that was it. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. I really enjoyed it. I hope that you've enjoyed this as well and that you got some value from it. I'm really looking forward to making more videos, more shorts, more live streams. And if you're not on the Discord, I would encourage you to go on the Discord and be there, because it's a great resource for you if you're trying to learn React development. So yeah, that was it for me. Thank you again so much for watching, and I will see you in another future video or in the next live stream. 5 p.m. in Brazil. There you go. On the East Coast, it's fine, right? Everything that's like kind of west of Europe is fine. It's more so all the people that are in the east of Europe, like Asia and Australia and whatnot, they get a little bit affected. But this will go up on the YouTube channel anyway, so it's going to be recorded. So don't worry if you haven't missed it live. You're going to be able to see this recorded right after. I just have to figure out how to actually do it, but yeah, that's kind of the plan. So yes, thank you so much, everyone, and I will catch you in another stream or another video. This is Darius Kozin. This is Kozin Solutions. Thank you so much for watching. Ciao, ciao. Thanks, Abel. Thanks, everyone. See ya, guys. Let's go. Ciao, ciao.